Replacing the rear right brake pipe to a disc caliper on a Skoda Fabia Mark 1, 2000 to 2007. Before we begin, later on in the video there'll be an announcement of the competition winners that was set in an early video. So good luck with that, and back to the video. When your car gets over 10 to 15 years old, you want to inspect the underside fixed and flexible brake pipes for corrosion and deterioration, and replacing any parts that seem a bit suspect. This is particularly important before the brake pipe unions become all seized up and corroded badly. If left, the connections eventually break, meaning further sections of pipe have to be replaced or modified with extra connections, which you don't really want. Find level firm ground and jack up the rear of the car. Take the wheel off, put your axle stands under for safety, and put the wheel underneath the car for extra security. I've got my anti-Mildred's old rug to protect me and the driveway, which should make the job a lot more comfortable. Here's the pipe we're going to replace. It's got a banjo union on the rear of the caliper, and it attaches to the top of the axle on these couple of clips. 3 clips running back to the behind the trailing arm part. The pipe lips over the rear axle just here and fits into the flexible pipe union, which is mounted into a bracket which is welded onto the axle. And of course this is where it all gets a bit corroded. So you want to clean these up as much as you can. And apply plenty of penetrating fluid. Make sure you wear appropriate PPE. What's that annoying bird? It's got a distinctive call. Oh, that's the annoying culprit. I'll have to have a word with him later. You need to use the correct spanner for these. Don't use an open-ended spanner if you can avoid it, as these tend to round the nut off. Use a flare nut wrench spanner. This is what they look like. They're just like a ring spanner with a bit cut out, so you can get it round the pipe. And importantly, it gives a better purchase on the nut. Make sure you get these in 6-point hex and not 12-point if you've got rusty nuts. If your nuts are in good condition though, 12-point will be easier. When you put the spanner on, make sure it's fully onto the nut and nice and straight and even. This one's 11mm. Then hold the bracket firmly while you loosen the nut off. Just break it loose for now. Do the same on the banjo union nut, which is 13mm. Now I want to prise out the pipe from the clips. You can see quite a bit of corrosion on the pipe here. The clips are easily broken, so put a flat bladed screwdriver underneath them and gently ease them out. Put a receptacle down to catch the drips and undo the rear nut union first. Pull that free. Now undo the banjo union and another receptacle to catch the drips. Carefully lift the pipe out of the way. Now carefully clean up the mating surface on the caliper where the banjo union sits. Try not to get any debris going into the caliper. Now you want to clean this area up really well. What I used was a very small flat-bladed screwdriver and a bit of rag wrapped round the end of it. You want to be removing all the dirt held in all the corners, especially the recess where the washer goes, and of course the sides where the banjo part goes. Once you've cleaned it out as much as you can, then with a turkey baster, flush out the caliper with clean braking fluid to remove any debris that might have fallen in there. Here's a new pipe with the rubber banjo Flexi. and importantly a new flange bolt and 2 copper washers. Take this out and then marry it up with the old one to make sure it's the same type and shape. Which it roughly is. You always have to bend these into position a little bit, which is fairly easy to do. Feed the new pipe into position. And reattach the rear union nut, being careful not to thread it. It actually took me quite a while to align this one and had to move the camera out of the way just to get it started, so be mindful never to rush these. So keep jiggling the bolt and pipe until it goes in by hand easily. You should never try to force it. Don't knit that up just yet. We need to align the pipes in the clips. You just have to fiddle about and bend them into position, really. They should go roughly into position. Once you are, tighten the rear union nut. You just want to nip it up until it stops leaking. Don't over tighten it. Now we've got the caliper banjo fitting to install with the new banjo bolt and washers. Make sure you put one washer on the top of the banjo union directly under the bolt head, and the other one will go on the mated surface. So you put that on the threads underneath the banjo. I'll just flush it out one more time. Fit the washer. Hold the banjo in place and hand tighten the bolt. And then get your spanner and just nip it up with just the right pressure to squeeze both washers to make a seal, with the washers being made of malleable copper. Again, don't over tighten, but also don't under tighten or it'll leak. You've got to get it just right. Then wipe the area clean with a rag. Refit the ABS cable. You just push those in until they click. Check everything's in place correctly. And then we just need to bleed the air out of the pipe, although there won't be much if you've done it the way I showed you, as gravity fills the pipe with fluid all the way to the banjo. Nevertheless, take the cap off the bleed nipple and loosen the bleed nipple. Attach your pipe and receptacle. If you're doing it manually, put somebody in the car. Check the reservoir and fill up accordingly. Keep the pressure on. Let the air out and retighten. Not forgetting to put the cap back on and the little rubber cap on the bleed nipple, and clean everything up. Dry everything off, and this is when I tested the brakes again and found they were leaking. So I'll obviously have to nip that up again. Anyway, here's the finished job. I don't think that's too bad. I'm happy with that. While I'm under the car, I'll just renovate the patches that were left from the axle stands before. I've got this new rotary brush, so I'm going to try that for the first time. If I can get it into the packet, that is. Quite a nice stiff little brush, that. See how it goes. Grind all the rust off. Apply some neutralizer. Red oxide. And black hammerite. I'm also going to change the bolts out on the rear exhaust pipe bracket. Change them for some stainless steel bolts. Ah, that looks a lot better. Right, I'm off to get Bob to sort this competition out. A big thank you for everybody that's taken part. Really appreciate the support. When I'm working on the cars, I often hear a lot of birds making quite a bit of noise. And being rural, there is quite a lot of wood pigeons and barn owls about. Here's a wood pigeon. And they all have different calls. It has a distinctive 5-note call. But the bird in the video in question had a 3-note call, which is similar in tone, but is actually a different bird. Here's the little fella. If you look closely, you can see a black stripe on its neck, or collar, which makes him a collared dove, and a beautiful creature at that. What do you reckon, Cat? Yeah, I know you've got your eye on them all the time. We'll go see how Bob's doing in his shed, picking the random winner. Ah, here we are. I think I've just spotted him going into his shed. There's his bike. He told me that all winners were assigned a number, which was written on a pound coin. Here's the number 3. He's putting that in the hat, along with the others, and he's picking the winner out. Which is number 2. And who's number 2, Bob? And who's number 2, Bob? I'm sorry guys, Bob can't speak, so he's got it written down. $90 cc. So the winner is 90 cc. Sounds like you've got a Honda Cup. Congratulations. And thanks for everybody else that took part. Sorry if you didn't win. Even I thought it was a pigeon until I looked it up. Brilliant deduction from 90cc, naming the collared dove. If you click on the About tab on my home page, you'll see a view email address where you can send me your name and address and I'll send you the prize. Job's a good one. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I hope this video helped you out, guys. Please like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.